Alexander Thorn was born into privilege, a world where silver spoons were the norm and golden opportunities were a birthright. His father, Richard Thorn, was a titan of industry, a man whose name commanded respect and whose influence shaped the very skyline of New Arcadia. His mother, Eleanor, was a renowned philanthropist, a beacon of grace and generosity who dedicated her life to causes that uplifted the less fortunate. Their world was one of opulent estates, sparkling jewels and endless possibilities where every room told a story of wealth and every corner whispered tales of grandeur. Alexander, with his charming smile and confident air, was the heir apparent, groomed from birth to inherit the legacy of the Thorn family. He attended the most prestigious schools, institutions where the elite were moulded and the future leaders of the world were crafted. He summered in the south of France, in a villa that overlooked the azure waters of the Mediterranean, a place where the sun always seemed to shine a little brighter. Alexander's life was a whirlwind of luxury and ease, a gilded cage of his own making, filled with designer clothes, high-end cars and exclusive parties. He had never known want, never felt the sting of hardship, his days filled with leisure and his nights with the glittering lights of the city. It was a life most could only dream of, a fairy tale existence where every wish was granted and every dream was within reach. From a young age, Alexander was surrounded by the best of everything, from toys to tutors, ensuring he had every advantage. His parents, though busy with their own pursuits, always made sure he felt loved and supported, their pride in him evident in every glance. As he grew older, Alexander's achievements were celebrated with grand parties and accolades, each milestone a testament to his privileged upbringing. He stepped into the business world with the same confidence, ready to take on the mantle of leadership, his path seemingly paved with gold. Yet beneath the surface of this perfect life, there were moments of doubt, fleeting thoughts of what lay beyond the gilded walls of his existence. Despite his privileged life, Alexander felt a pull towards his mother's philanthropic work, a desire to make a difference in the world beyond his own. And so, the golden son of New Arcadia stood at a crossroads, his future a tapestry yet to be woven, with threads of legacy, ambition and perhaps a touch of his own making. Richard Thorn, a self-made man, saw the dangers lurking in his son's extravagant lifestyle. He had built his empire from the ground up, understanding the value of every penny and the effort it took to earn it. He tried to instill in Alexander the importance of hard work, the dedication required to achieve true success, and the satisfaction that comes from knowing you've earned your way. He emphasized the value of a dollar earned, not given, hoping to teach his son the lessons he had learned through years of toil and perseverance. Richard preached caution, advised restraint in spending, and warned against the perils of living beyond one's means. He shared stories of his own struggles, hoping to impart wisdom through his experiences, but his words fell on deaf ears. Alexander, accustomed to a life of luxury, found it difficult to relate to his father's tales of hardship and sacrifice. Alexander, blinded by his privilege, saw no need for his father's antiquated values. He believed that the world had changed, and with it, the rules of success. He dismissed his father's concerns as the ramblings of an old man out of touch with the times. To Alexander, the future was bright and full of opportunities that his father could never understand. The allure of instant gratification was too strong. The modern world offered pleasures and conveniences that were hard to resist, and Alexander was drawn to them like a moth to a flame. He craved the thrill of the deal, the excitement of making quick money, and the rush that came with each successful transaction. The adrenaline was addictive. The rush of acquiring more, of constantly seeking the next big thing, became his driving force. Alexander was on a relentless pursuit of wealth and status, often ignoring the foundational principles his father had tried to teach him. He indulged in the high life, surrounding himself with the finest things money could buy, believing that this was the true measure of success. But in his quest for more, he overlooked the deeper values that his father had hoped to instill in him. Richard watched from a distance, his heart heavy with concern. He knew that the path Alexander was on was fraught with risks and potential pitfalls. He could only hope that one day his son would come to understand the wisdom behind his words. The generational clash between father and son was evident, a battle between old values and new ambitions. It was a story as old as time, yet uniquely theirs. In the reflection of their lives, one could see the stark differences, but also the undeniable bond that tied them together. Despite their disagreements, the love and hope Richard had for Alexander remained unwavering. Richard Thorn's death cast a long shadow over Alexander's life. With his father's guiding hand gone, Alexander was free to fully embrace his extravagant impulses. He dove headfirst into a world of excess. Parties raged, money flowed like water. He bought yachts and sports cars. He surrounded himself with a coterie of yes-men and hangers-on, each feeding his insatiable appetite for more. He saw no limit to his wealth, no end in sight to his fortune. The world, it seemed, was his oyster. Section 4. A House of Cards on Wall Street. Alexander, emboldened by his early successes in business, began to make riskier and riskier investments. He poured millions into volatile tech startups, speculative real estate ventures, and high-stakes gambling. He ignored the warnings of his advisors, convinced of his own infallibility. His empire, built on a foundation of inherited wealth and fueled by reckless ambition, began to crumble. The markets, once so predictable, turned against him. His investments soured, his debts mounted, the walls were closing in. Section 5. The Crumbling Empire. The collapse of Thorn Enterprises was swift and brutal. What was once a symbol of wealth and prosperity became a cautionary tale of hubris and excess. Newspapers ran daily headlines chronicling Alexander's downfall, each one a fresh wound to his ego. His so-called friends vanished overnight. His fortune evaporated. He was left with nothing but a mountain of debt, a shattered reputation, and the bitter taste of regret. The world that had cheered his ascent now revelled in his demise. Section 6. From silk sheets to cold concrete. Alexander Thorn, once the toast of New Arcadia, found himself alone and destitute. He had been a man of immense wealth and influence, a figure who commanded respect and admiration wherever he went. His name was synonymous with success, and his life was the epitome of luxury. He went from sleeping on silk sheets to sleeping on park benches. The transition was not just physical, but deeply emotional. Each night on the cold, hard surface was a stark reminder of the comfort he once took for granted. He traded his designer suits for hand-me-downs. The finely tailored garments that once adorned his body were replaced by tattered and worn-out clothes, a visual testament to his fall from grace. His days were spent wandering the streets, haunted by the ghost of his former life. The bustling city that once felt like his playground now seemed like a labyrinth of regret and lost opportunities. The weight of his mistakes pressed down on him, heavy and suffocating. Every decision that led him to this point replayed in his mind, a relentless loop of what-ifs and could-have-beens. The lessons he had once ignored now echoed in his ears, a constant reminder of his folly. The advice he had brushed off, the warnings he had laughed at, all came back to him with a vengeance. He was a cautionary tale, a stark example of how quickly fortune can turn. His story served as a grim reminder to those who knew him, a living testament to the fragility of success. In the end, Alexander Thorn became a symbol of the unpredictable nature of life. A man who had it all and lost it all, reminding us that no one is immune to the whims of fate. Section 7. Echoes of Excess, a Cautionary Tale. Alexander Thorn's story is a timeless one, a parable of the corrupting influence of wealth and the perils of unchecked ambition. It is a reminder that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the wisdom to use our blessings responsibly. His downfall serves as a stark warning to us all, to value humility over hubris, to seek fulfillment in something greater than ourselves, and to remember that the pursuit of happiness should never come at the expense of our integrity.